Welcome to another amazing interview session with the boss lady, Miss Portia Mazone. She is the CEO of Econtii Music Group. She's an A&R. She's a music supervisor of season 2 of the Giant series on BET Plus. And most importantly, you guys see all the lovely degrees in the background. She's soon to be Esquire. So I'm so excited to have her. Please welcome Miss Portia to the show. How are you today?
Hi everyone, I'm good. Hanging in there. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. So, let's get into it. Can you tell people a little bit about yourself, where you started and where you are and where you're headed?
Yeah, well, I started, working in the music industry. I started as a songwriter at first, and when I realized I had to figure out how to protect my craft, that's when I started, kind of on the business side of learning about the music business. And from there, I traveled and ventured into film, and I did a little bit of sports management. And now I am working on, the education side of it and, the legal side.
Wow, wow. I know people probably ask you all the time. So, what are some of the big mistakes that can, I guess, keep people from being recognized in the industry and how your company bridges that gap?
Some of the big mistakes, I think the biggest mistakes I have seen lately is just egos and, you know, breaking and hindering relationships. The music industry, entertainment industry is very tight knit, and it's all built off of relationships. Like I can have all the degrees on the wall that I want, but if I didn't know how to connect to people and, filter those conversations, then I will still be at square one. So I see a lot of people, they get into this business and tend to, you know, overstep their keep at certain points. And so my company will come in and kind of like teach people, the steps and the stages of how they can elevate their career and, maintain relationships instead of break them.
Okay. So tell people, I think there's a lot of misconceptions. Everybody has a entertainment consulting firm and, either they have a little bit experience or they kind of, put their foot in their mouth. So tell people, what's the purpose of an entertainment consulting firm and how do they select the right firm to grow their brand?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's different purposes for people's firms. My firm is specifically, we are geared toward public relations, legal resources, and entertainment resources. And so you can come to my company at all stages of the entertainment career. I have people who don't know anything about the business and it's just like, hey, I know I'm a creative and I have a passion for this, but I don't know the legal steps, or I don't know how to break in, or what type of creative campaign can I do? And so I will help them navigate from there. But then I also have people who are veterans who are just like, hey, Portia, I have tons of things going on and we just need your help doing this particular event, or we just know that you're good at A, B, and C, and so we would like to bring you on board for a project. And so it's really, from A, it's all the way from A to Z about where you can go with it. But if people want to get into having an entertainment consulting firm, our main thing is teaching and educating people. And so I know people say like, oh, I'm in the music business or I'm in the entertainment business, let me put some firm together and let me help people. But that's where you get in trouble, because if you go to someone who really doesn't know what they're talking about, that can kind of hurt you in the long run.
Wow, wow. So, how many clients do you initially work with, and is there a specific niche that your company looks for?
Client. I mean, now that I've been in it for some years and I have so many different projects going on, like sometimes I'm doing music supervisor work, I'm managing, I have a artist I'm managing, a producer right now. And so my client intake is pretty slim. I probably take 2 or 3 clients a month, because I want to give my full attention to that client. Um, and where we started was music. It was really just independent artists where I started at, but now it's more so business and consulting. I've worked with nursing homes, I've worked with athletes, I worked with actresses, I worked with, small businesses, corporations. And so it's really a plethora of things or people.
Okay. Is there a perfect time? I know people are really big, especially a lot of companies are big on followers, but you don't really know if that's paid followers. You don't know if that doesn't mean that their engagement is higher than somebody who may have less or half than what that person has. So when is the best time that you recommend that people actually reach out and get an entertainment consulting firm to help them grow?
Well, like I said, it's at all levels and all stages. So, depending on what stage and level you are, we're here to navigate you through that process. But typically, we find people in the earlier stages where they like, so for example, an artist, right? An artist doesn't need a manager until you have something to manage, right? And so I find a lot of artists reach out to me and say, "Hey, Portia, I want a manager." And I'm like, "Well, what am I managing?" And so, and typically you want the manager to come find you because you're so talented, and then you have more leverage to negotiate, what you want. But let's say that you're not at that point in that stage. Well, then, or you don't have a team either. You don't have lawyers, you don't have a publicist, you don't have a business manager and stuff. You'll come to EMG and kind of use our affiliates as your team, and I will be the liaison that connects you to the dots to the people where you need to go.
But is there a certain client? Because I know some people, I know I've heard this from different people in the industry, but they say, a lot of times people will come in and they're probably looking at you like, oh, Portia's going to wave the magic wand and I'm going to sit back on my feet and relax. Can you talk about that? The artist still has to put, the artist or whoever that is has to put forth the effort, and, you're kind of like assisting them, but they still have to, put that effort in. Like it's not all on you and your company.
Yeah, and my main thing when someone comes to me, we have the conversation of what's the expectation. I just heard someone on IG talk, music exec, and they were saying that to break an artist these days, it costs $150,000 to $200,000, right? And that's an independent artist. And he was talking about independent artist doesn't have that type of money, Right. And so it's really about acknowledging the expectations and the worth. And, I always tell people that when we sit down and we do a contract, we're going to go over the goals, but I can put you and lead you in the right direction. But if you don't have talent, I can't do no more. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but I tell these expectations up front. I want you to know, what you're looking at and what to expect in the long haul when you get into this business, because this business is cutthroat. Like no one, like it really is. It will eat you up and spit you out without, an instant. And so to really be honest with yourself, but then also, you don't want to hinder people from their dreams. If that's your dream and you truly believe in that, I can give you what I think is the overall picture of something, but it's always up to you to continue and look forward to whatever God or whatever, whoever you believe in, and believe in yourself to get to where you want to go.
Mm-hmm. So I know people looking at you, they're like, I want to be just like Portia, and they may not see the craziness that you gotta.
I wish that.
They might not see the craziness that you have to deal with. So how do you keep your mind right, and not let people like drive you crazy?
Me, God. I mean, that's my main focus. Always have been. I have to. If I didn't have God, I would not be where I'm at, right? My sanity. I'm a mom. I got 2 kids. I work full time. I own a company. I manage other people. Sometimes I was managing like 5-10 people in like a month, and then still doing law school, still working, and still whatever. And I remember my family would be like, Portia, you have to turn your phone off at 9 o'clock. Like 9 o'clock, turn it off. Like you have to create your own sense of peace and your own self-care, or else you will lose it. And like I said, the entertainment industry, as much glitter, glamour, and it's fun. I love going to work. I love being around celebrities. I love doing my job or whatnot. But at the end of the day, if I'm not happy with myself and my peace and my home, like all that will crumble, and it doesn't make, it wouldn't mean anything at the end of it anyways.
So why did you remove urban from your verbiage? You know, in order to promote diversity and not let people put your business inside a box, what we consider like a black business.
Well, I don't think urban was ever really in my uh in the title of my business. I have had other businesses such as Urban Scope, which was I used to manage, which was a photography, videography company or whatnot. And we used to have conversations about what does urban mean, and we don't want to put ourselves in a box with like corporate people and things of that nature. And so, we switch things up. But I think Black culture is a culture that is often imitated and praised. And, nowadays, urban might be the new word that we need to keep instead of take away. I know some people find it offensive, because when you think of urban, what do you think of? You think about Black people. And then how do you think about them? And that's what we want to kind of contextualize and, bring something positive around that term and that notion. But I feel for me, I'm a Black woman. If you want to work with me, everything I do is going to say Black somewhere in it, from the presence of how I speak, when I walk into a room, everything I do is a Black owned business. And so when I say to people who don't like the word urban, you're going to have to live with it.
But did it take you a long time to like become this person you are right now? Like, did you have to read any books or listen to anything or had any mentors?
When you say become this person, what do you mean?
The person you are right now. Like, I'm sure Portia, who we're looking at today, is not Portia 10 years ago or 5 years ago.
Well, Portia's always been Portia. From as a childhood, I've always been this person.
Okay.
However, as I got older, I have been more in tune with myself and understanding who I am. And I've had mentors, like I had Karen Mason, who recently passed this last year, was like one of my biggest mentors. I used to call her my industry mom. She did the marketing for Mary J. Blige. She did the Crisscross campaign, worked at Elektra, and she was like such a powerful Black woman. She was I think she was from Queens. Oh, she cursed me out. Harlem. She was somewhere from New York. She was from New York. And she had that attitude. And she was just so graceful, but so present in how she navigated a room. And I remember when I met her, I was like, I want to be like that. I want to be able to be in my truth. I want to be a Black woman. I want to be able to control a room and people respect me for who I am. I want to go into a room and people listen to what I have to say. It's hard to be in this industry and being a female and being someone who someone might think is attractive or whatnot. You kind of get put back to the back of the room and people don't really want to listen to you because they're like, oh, she's just a pretty face. We're going to bypass, until that's the pretty face that you have to listen to because I'm the one with all the answers. And so really standing on that truth and knowing who I am is, who I continue to evolve to be today.
Yeah, speaking on that, I have to ask you, being a woman, of course, in the male predominant industry, how do you control your emotions?
I mean, as I get older, you have to learn to control your emotions regardless. So, who I am in a sad situation, who I am in an angry situation should always be stagnant. I should always be the same person in all those situations, and knowing that what I'm doing is a job at the end of the day. And then when I come home and close that door, I can cry and get angry and cuss out everybody in my head. But, at the end of the day, I own a company, I own a business, and so I always tell people, like even people who work for me, I'm like, I understand your situation, but our client doesn't care. If our client wants a deadline or a client expects certain things, that's what it is. And yeah, life happens, but I think that kind of separates the businesses that end up being successful and the businesses that don't end up being successful is kind of how they navigate those changes in, people's emotions and stuff. You have to, I work 24/7. I don't sleep. I'm pretty sure one day I'll burn out. But until then, it's just a constant go, 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 go. But that's how it got me to where I am. And so.
Okay. I saw a quote on Instagram, I think, and it was talking about the importance of hiring people that's smarter than you. Do you take that same approach with building your team and expanding?
Smarter than me? I'm pretty smart. But I want them on my level. Okay. So
Yeah.
I think that they always say if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Right. And so I want to put myself around people who are innovators and forward thinkers and people who are insightful. And I think that as a person who owns a business, you need to know every job that you hire for at every level. Right. So I've been at the bottom. I've been an intern before. I've been an administrative assistant. I've been a executive. I've been, the owner. And so I need to know all those areas so that I can appreciate and respect everybody that works for me. And obviously, if someone's smarter and that works in my company, then that's great because they picked a great company to work for. That's what makes them smart.
I like your answers. So how do you measure your risk versus reward and not be scared to take a chance even if the odds are not in your favor?
I measure my risks and my rewards.
Yes.
I mean, I guess it's how much do you put out there and what do you want in return, And so and how passionate you are. Sometimes the risk outweighs the rewards when you're passionate about something that you need to achieve. If you're passionate about that, then if you take a L or something, it wouldn't matter because you're going to get back up and do it again because that's what you truly believe in. And so I kind of like to take that stance on things. And in life, you're gonna get some, you're gonna lose some. That's just part of life, but it's not about how you fall down, it's about how you get back up and what you do with those lessons that you learned once you fell. And so, and I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but I have felt many a times, and I'd be like, man, devil, get off of me. Like, it's like,
right.
like we fighting, but I'm gonna keep on fighting because that's what's instilled in me and that's what I want and that's what I believe in.
So who or what are some of your ideal clients?
My ideal clients that pay on time. That's my ideal client. But in reference to like major clients I would love to work with would be like Rock Nation or a Savage Fenty or some of those brands.
And like, what about them? Like, is it just? I mean, I know they're all great companies, but what are some of the values that make you want to work with those companies?
I mean, I love Hov. I love Jay. I love his work ethic. I love his story from coming from Marcy Projects to being a billionaire, and how he had to level up around the way. I love Rihanna's work ethic coming from the Barbados and the islands and stuff like that. I did a campaign with Rihanna back in the day, like years ago, and she was such like amazing person. And so I just love to see Black businesses flourishing, Okay.
Talk about having the right visuals for your brand and how important that is. I don't think some people realize that first impression is sometimes the last impression. So the importance of visuals.
Yeah. I mean, I used to manage visual artists. So like some of the top visual artists in Atlanta, I was their manager. And so like Marquise Garden, Urban Scopes, Visual League and stuff, people like them. And you have to have good visuals to me. Now, when people ask about what it takes to have a good visual, I think is really like the quality of the work and someone having an eye to capture those different dimensions and things that you need to have, But at the end of the day, it's kind of 50-50 nowadays, just the way how the market in the world is changing. I mean, if you have a crappy visual, but you have a hit song,
right,
it might work, you know what I'm saying? But if you have But I'm old school. I need the whole package, like I want my shit to look like Hype Williams produced this stuff, or, and like the quality and the clarity. Like if someone comes to me and shows me poor quality products, I probably won't want to deal with them, because that just shows me how much you're invested in your craft and your time. And a lot of people like to cut corners because they don't have money. And for me, I would tell them, save until you have some money, because half-ass projects, it looks half-ass. And then they come to me and they're like, Portia, look, I got this video. Can you help me get it on BET? And I'm like, I'm not putting my name on that. Like, what's right. that? So, it's all in the eye of the beholder.
Okay. Do you think people need press kits nowadays, or is that like an old school thing, kind of like radio?
Well, EPKs are electronic press kits, and I think, like I said, I'm very traditional when I do a lot of stuff. I like to be innovative, but I also like to stay the course. And so when you deal with major companies and major brands, they're gonna ask you for an EPK. And when you don't have it, you forfeit whatever they're doing. And so. But nowadays you can get creative and you can put your EPK on like a website instead of having a traditional one. Or I've seen EPKs on thumb drives, or, like people are becoming more creative in how we do it. You can put your EPK on a YouTube video and send it to YouTube or whatnot, and it just depends on what type of brand you're working with. Sometimes brands are like, well, how many followers you have? What's your numbers looking like? And other ones are like, hey, I need to know what your career look like over time. Where can I find this information? And it's just easier for me. I feel like it's easier for me to sell you if you have something, like it's like a resume for an artist.
Okay. Do you have any advice for anybody who wants to start their own consulting firm, entertainment consulting firm?
Learn some shit. You gotta learn. You gotta know what you're talking about, and like, because you'll mess up people's lives for real. Like, people. I had a guy come to me. He said he spent $25,000, and I said, well, what did you get for it? He was like, nothing. And I'm like, well, how do you not get anything? You spent $25,000, and it's like, I lived in Atlanta, and Atlanta is a very big, it's the land of the scammers. Like, you will get scammed real quick. So you need to know.
I never heard of that one.
They will get you. They'll get you real quick. It looks good. Everybody's a celebrity in Atlanta. So, I need you have to have facts to back that up, And so if you are going to get into it, what is your niche? What are you providing a service to people? How is someone going to learn from you? And then you take that and then you kind of put it into works on, building your brand and your consulting firm. And so people can actually get good quality service from you, because at the end of the day, the industry is small, and like everybody talks, everybody fact tracks. Like, although I say, everybody's a celebrity in their own minds or whatnot, we all have phone numbers, and so people will call and be like, well, do you know this person? Did that person do that? And your reputation is really like what holds you together in this business. Like, I don't advertise at all. Like, you don't see sponsor ads from EMG or any of that stuff. It's all word of mouth. Like, people call me. Like, how I got to be music supervisor on Giants was word of mouth. I went to college with one of the producers, and they called me and they're like, Portia, you know music. Here, do this, So, I really hone in on building those relationships, because relationships are the most important thing in the music business.
But did you have to go out? I always have this back and forth with people. Like, do you have to go out? Like, I know we're in COVID now still. Do you feel like people have to go out and network, or can they network from their phones and like you said, an innovative way, like traditional path of networking? Do people still have to go out, or can they do it from their phones, or both?
I look young, but I'm old. So back in the day, we was in these streets. Nonstop. I worked for Def Jam, did the street promo for Rick Ross, Port of Miami. Like, we did the Black Music Conference. Like, I was out. I was doing a reel the other day, just like kind of doing some highlights. And I was like, man, I was in these streets like every day, like non-sleep. Like, my whole team, no one slept for like years. And so However, now it's 2022, the game has changed. How to contact people. Before we were sitting outside Bad Boy trying to get Diddy to like look at a record. Now I can go slide in his DMs and pray that he notices that I'm in his DMs, or put up a video on TikTok and go viral, and now I got 3 major executives looking at me. So I think if you really want to be sufficient in this career, I will kind of blend the both. I will still be in the street, traditional hand to hand shaking, because at the end of the day, we can talk to people on Instagram and whatever, but like I said, it's those relationships that make a difference. Go to someone and offer something to them instead of trying to get something from them, right? And so going out, I remember I used to have a game plan. I was strategic. When I moved to Atlanta, I was like, I knew where I was going. I knew who was going to be in the room before I got in the room. I knew their whole life story, right? And I'll go up to them and I would fake it like hell. Like I didn't know where they lived, who their mama was, and whatever. And I'd be like, hi, nice to meet you. And I knew that was going to take me seeing this person 4 to 5 to 7 times before we had a real relationship where they remember my name, and that's how I have relationships to this day that are decades, 20 years old, where I can be missing for 3-4 years, no one see me, but still can call up, the CEO of Warner Records because of those relationships that I built over the years. And so, but nowadays I've gained relationships, people DM me, like you can get a lot of executives and celebrities are very accessible now through Instagram DMs. I've had several DMs and I'm like, oh my God, like I grew up to you. How, like, you see me? Like, oh, I was like,
right.
And foster and build those relationships and continue to have those, and it's about a connection with people. I think people lose the connection in the relationship, especially because we've been so isolated, and people are so honed into what can I get from somebody, instead of being like, hey, this is my passion and this is what I can offer you, and how can we succeed together? That's what's going to ultimately have us succeeding for a long, long, long time.
Wow. So can you tell the world where they can find and connect with you at? Any upcoming events, plans, books, any of those things?
You can find me on Instagram at Econtii, which is ECONTII, and at Econtii Music Group, which ECONTII Music Group, and at EMG_ I am a creative. And so now I'm working on a new platform called I Am a Creative. We're going to have journals, workshops, a course where you can get college credits from about learning about the music industry and the music business. There's merch on it. I'm working with my client, Bugsy Malone. He produced 2 of the hottest records in this country last summer, Guileless by Capella Gray and To the Moon by Junior Choi. So I'm working with him and his career. And, just stay tuned, more speaking engagements and get into this money, as they will say.
I know that's right. Well, thank you, Portia, for your time today. Truly appreciate it. We're definitely get that information out. Please let me know when it's launched so I can get the word out. And I'll put the link on our website as well so people can go sign up.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thank you. See you.